Okay, I'm back with part 3. So, what is that? I guess they're excited about this part. I don't know. You know me in the confirmations, right? Okay. Anyway, so Soul Family Oracle's message, right? So remember she said that they came together, right, to create moi. She said you carry multiple forms of magic. Not only are you a powerful seer, but you're also powerful with plants and herbs and root work, and that's something that you should tap into. She said one lineage were powerful seers, most likely your mother's side, and the other powerful healers, most likely your father's side. And the coming together of these two lineages has made you an extremely powerful sage. She said your parents were very different people from very different places, and the only thing they may have had in common is that they were very magical people but didn't know it. She said, and this could have been the thing that magnetized them to each other unexplainably and unknowingly, because they really didn't know who they were, but they knew that they wanted to be with each other, basically. So here's where I'm gonna tell you the story of, not in all the details, but a very surface level story of how my parents met, or the energy that was between them when they met. Let me say that, okay? So it really takes my mother to tell the story because she tells it in more of a funny way, but I'm just gonna tell you what I know, okay? So the story goes that they were at a party. They didn't know each other from Adam or Eve, but somehow my father locked his eyes on her and he had to come speak to her. Now, keep in mind, my father is Colombian, right? And didn't know a lick of English, okay? And my mom can't speak but maybe 5 words in Spanish, if that, okay? But he was determined. He knew what he wanted, and she was what he wanted. He didn't know why, I'm imagining, and I'm sure she didn't know why he chose her, but that draw between the two was there, okay? And so he went up to her, and again, not knowing any bit of English, he knew one sentence, and that was the sentence he kept repeating to her anytime she tried to communicate with him, right? So, like, for instance, like, he introduced himself, hi, my name is his name, okay? Y'all don't need all the information. She gave him her name, okay? And so, naturally, trying to get to know him, she asked him a question or two. Let's just say she said, what do you do for work? His response was, I like you. You don't like me? That's okay. Like, what? That I didn't ask you that. Pretty much, like, okay. So, do you live here? Like, what brings you to town? I like you. You don't like me? That's okay. Okay. So, like, did you drive here? Where are you going after? Like, do you have plans after? I mean, I like you. You don't like me? That's okay. When she told me this story, I was dying. Again, it takes my mom to tell the story for it to really be funny, but yo, that shit's hilarious. Okay, that's all you know in English. Okay, who taught you that? Like, what? My mom being her, she tried to play hard to get, right? But my father was determined, and he made himself known. Okay, he pulled out all the stops to let her know that she was what he wanted. Okay. And eventually, she gave in, and things just moved quickly. And next thing you know, they living together, and they get married, and she's pregnant. Okay. I get the sense that what would be like a year to us was like split second for them. That when she tells the stories, that's how I feel. Everything was like speed of light. And I feel like the message that Soul Family Oracle gave really puts that into context for me. Like, I can feel all of that just by understanding what I understand now. And so my mom kind of struggled with wanting to take that step to be a mother, from my understanding. And again, not giving you all the details, but there came a point where she decided that maybe she didn't want to do that. But there was a calling that she heard that said to her in clear words, again, mama, let me know if I get it wrong, okay, that not this one, talking about me, not this one, this one's gonna be somebody, not this one. And she said she just kept hearing it. And so that was the pinnacle moment for her where she decided, okay, I'm gonna be a mom. And hey, 9-10 months later, here I come. And I gave her hell the entire time. Of course I had to be difficult, right? All this power you carrying in your belly, it's gonna be difficult. I mean, of course. The way she talks about it is like I likely wanted to take her out. Like, I was difficult, okay? And heavy. Like, I came into this earth damn near a 1-2-year-old baby. Like, I was born 10 pounds, 11 ounces, okay? No shame in my game. I came in this thing solid, all right? But all jokes aside, I feel like she had to carry all of that, because of who I am. I come in heavy and hot, you know? Like, my vessel had to be plump, thick, and ready, you know, for what was to come to become me, you know? And we're talking about, you know, spiritual texts and people knowing, not people, but entities knowing what's to come and who I am, and that I was on my way to this earthly plane, right? With that being said, before I made my great escape, I stopped breathing. I stopped moving. I was on my way back up, right? Someone did not want me here, basically. And you know, my mom going through all she was going through with this pregnancy, from the stories I heard, I'm thinking she probably wasn't thinking too much of it. It took my father to ask her how I was doing for her to realize, you know, I haven't felt the baby move in a while. And of course, you know, he freaked the fuck out, like straight to the hospital. Like, what the fuck you mean you ain't felt her move in a while? Like, what? You know? Well, because he didn't know I was a girl at the time. We'll talk about that. So, you know, long story short, they get to the hospital and she had to have a induced pregnancy. She had to have a C-section, and I was breech. I came out ass first. My grandma always tells that story. First thing she saw was my ass. Like, they literally pulled me out by my hips, okay? And, you know, like doctors do, they slapped me on my ass a couple of times and I hollered. And they said, you had a set of lungs on you, boy. I mean, this is lifetimes I'm carrying with me. You know, this a multitude of voices that were coming into this earth, okay? It wasn't just mine, you know? And so it came out, you know, full head of hair, black curly hair, beautiful hair. And you can see, like, you see how my hairline is, right? And so all of this, like, all of it was down, like, to my eyebrows, okay? I mean, I'm a newborn, my face has to form, right? Okay? And I talked about my daddy not knowing that I was a girl, right? And so when he finally came in and he saw me, my mom says he was, like, so disappointed, like. And the first thing out of his mouth was, Pati. You know, I told you guys my mom's name is Patricia. Pati. Just ugly. And she's a girl. Like, he was so disappointed by what he saw. Okay. And of course, you know, my mom was like, I cussed that motherfucker from here to Sunday. Okay. And the nurse was like, she's not ugly. She's going to be beautiful. You just wait and see. You know, he was. But, you know, back to Soul Family Oracle's message. I think the way I came out, you know, basically matured, right? Heavy and full head of hair. Like the way they describe it, I feel like I was a mature baby already coming into this earth, you know. So, again, there was a lot of power my mom was carrying. So, yeah. But anyway, back to her message. She talked about, you know, like them being drawn to each other unexplainably and being from completely different places. Those stories that kind of made everything just kind of make sense. And she said that you are a powerful body that can carry both sides of your inheritance, and your inheritance being the magic that is running through your veins. She said that you are both things fully, not 50 of one and 50 of the other. No, you are 100% of both, which makes you extremely powerful. So speaking of the magnetism between the two, again, they didn't even speak the same language. Soul Family Oracle said that your soul family, your guides, orchestrated this union and chose you to be the one to come through it because they knew that you could carry it. Again, I told you guys that before, that this ain't my first lifetime here, and I imagine that the lifetimes that I've had before, somehow may have proved it, that I could carry this. Like, whatever I'd learned from this earth school previously, I was equipped to carry this. She said that multiple forms of magic live in these two lineages, and not any body can carry all of that. The entirety of both in one vessel. So I feel like, you know, that's why I had to come in hot and heavy, okay? I had a lot I was bringing with me, okay? But she said the lineages are, again, a multifaceted combination of many, many, many magical practices. She said there are seers, there are healers, there are sages that deal with blood and plant medicine, water spirit, people who work with fire energies like jinns and dwarves, and people who channel specific energies. Like, there is a multitude of magic running through your veins, and you have become the vessel that can carry all of these to their fullest potential. She said you are a multifaceted being and a very gifted spiritualist. She said you have gifts that it took people years and lifetimes to master and perfect naturally within you just by coming through this connection. And your parents' inability to practice, or not being allowed to practice, or even know that they needed to practice, is what moved the cosmos to create you so that the magic can break into this earth and be used to its highest form to bring transformation to the earth and its inhabitants. And with that being said, part 4 is going to be my journey of how, looking back, people were telling me who I was before I even really understood what they were saying. And we'll talk about that in part 4. So, talk to you soon. Peace.